Hey, superhero. Welcome to Superhero Sunday. And you are the superhero, the real you. I'm Sam Shelley. They call me the Miracle Man. And some people call me Head Trash Baba. Help people get rid of all this noise, this head trash. So I'm coming to you live from the Head Trash Anonymous page and Head Trash Anonymous group. So this is what I do every Sunday at noon Eastern Time. So today I want to talk about busyness. As people join in here today, I really want to talk about busyness, that this mind is constantly putting us on the hamster wheel. Chase, 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 do, 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 all this busyness energy. But we simply have to realize, that we're not wired to be constantly wired. So I see some people here joining, so welcome. Oh, hi, Dowie, welcome. And I don't know who else is watching here. I see a couple counts, but nobody's saying hello yet, so say hello. So let's talk about, this today, how we're not wired to be constantly wired. Yet it seems that society demands that we be constantly wired with all the multitasking, all the to-do lists in the head, constantly just chasing things. And that doesn't really help us. It doesn't really make that big of a difference when we do that. So it's really about slowing down and seeing what are those things I can do that make a difference in my life. And that's learning to operate from the heart, the soul, the spirit, as opposed to see how this is just chasing. This actually knows the answer. We have to realize this is the place of knowing. There's something within you that knows that you know, but you simply forget because of this nonsense up here, all these stories that aren't serving you. So welcome to everyone that's joining here today. We're talking about busyness. So what things are you doing that are not making a big difference in your life? Or you keep trying things, you keep trying to force things. That's the mind trying to find answers outside of you. And that is the busyness that we want to curtail, to realize, does this really make a difference in my life? And really be honest with yourself that I've been doing this and this for years, and I'm hoping that it's going to turn the corner and be successful, but it's just not working. If it's not working, it tells you you're operating from the head. Because when the spirit gives you advice, it's the right advice, because it's that place of knowing and of not guessing. So we just need to get out of the not guessing and being okay with not knowing. That is the hardest thing for the mind to accept. Being comfortable with not knowing the answer. The mind wants to try to figure things out. But we have to realize the mind created this problem, this situation. So how is that same mind going to provide the solution for a problem it created? It really doesn't do a good job at that. It's just constantly throwing mud onto the wall. It's guessing. It's not really sure. It's not certain. So we're just talking about slowing down here today, to really slow it down, to see what really makes a difference. I was just focusing on the next step. That's all we have to do, is focus on the next step. Take one step, then see what the next step is. And notice how the mind wants to plan everything out, all the details. But the mind gets lost in the details, gets lost in all the doingness, all the busyness that doesn't serve us. So we want to start finding that peace here in this moment. As you're listening to my words, find yourself becoming more present, more at peace, letting go of the attachment to the story, the identities, and just really just slowing it down. Just keep slowing down. Let go of all that doingness, all that busyness. Realize that ultimately doesn't make a difference. It's not really helping you on your expansion of spirit, of your growth, because it's coming from the mind of things that really don't make a difference. But this is your lighthouse. We simply need to follow this path for our truth, our way forward. So I don't have much to say about this today, but it's really simple that the mind is keeping you too occupied with things that do not matter. It's just really about slowing down, being present, and taking those steps, taking that inspired action. Inspired comes from in spirit, which means from spirit, from soul, from consciousness. Getting those steps from there. So let's just dive into this little practice of letting go of the busyness, the doingness, and finding that right path for us. So I simply suggest closing your eyes, letting go of the external stimulations. There's no way to sit, hold your hands, breathe. All that stuff keeps the mind occupied with rules, and there are no rules to relaxation. To get yourself back into this moment, you don't want to entertain the mind's thoughts, that dwelling in the past, or guessing what the future may hold or entail. We simply want to just be here by hearing these words, by noticing where your feet are on the ground, noticing where you're sitting, what sounds you hear in your environment, maybe noticing the temperature of the room. All these little indicators are here to keep you in this moment. That we're really spiritual beings in this human body. So we're just asking the body for input, environmental inputs. And that's how you keep yourself present, is those environmental inputs. Where your feet, your hands, what do you see, touch, smell, taste? Just as environmental inputs, because you're the observer of them. But the mind will keep your spirit occupied with the stories, with things that don't matter, or things that are long done and over with. But we just want to keep moving forward on the next step, and the next step. Not concerning with detailed plans, figuring things out, how come, being okay with not knowing, diving into the unknown. That's where we grow, that's where we thrive. But it's actually hard to get into this place because the mind wants to keep you safe, and the unknown is not safe. Not according to the mind. When you're listening to your own insights, your own intuition, you are safe, you are protected. Diving into the unknown is okay, it's safe. Yes, it may get a little bumpy at times, learning to trust this voice and learning to discern between your spiritual voice and your mental voice. We simply suggest that spiritual voice has no explanations, no stories attached to it, simply instructions to do this, to do that, to do this. It's just instructions. The mind, however, will give you stories, reasons, excuses. But the mind is useful at times, because spirit will give you the instructions, but the mind has to figure out the steps. That, okay, how do I do this? Then you do the best you can in this moment. You don't criticize, you don't condemn, you don't judge yourself. You just bring yourself back to here. That's all. You just notice when you're caught in the story, and you simply come back. It's not very complicated, it's not very difficult to be here. But it is a practice, because the mind will constantly pull you out of this moment and into the story, the memories, getting lost into the details. We simply want to be here, to engage, to notice those environmental inputs, that information, those details. And it's just information. It's not just information, and how you respond to that information is up to you. Are you getting instructions from deeper? Or are you getting the surface level instructions from the mind? That's way to think of the mind as well. The mind is always riding the surface of the emotions, the thoughts, the beliefs, the opinions. The real you, the perfect spirit, is diving into the ocean of consciousness. It's going very deep to the place of knowing, to the place of answers. The mind's on the surface, lost, trying to find its way. But it can look within and say, there's my light, there's my lighthouse. Let me dive into me to find my answers, to find my way forward. But this is all we need to do, is dive into you. It's always the same story, remembering who we are and going through the I got it, I lost it phase of awakening. Awakening simply is knowing yourself as consciousness, spirit, soul, but knowing beyond doubt that you are that. But the mind will grab you into states of worry, anxiety, stress, busyness, memories, stories. You have to realize you're in a disempowered state there. All your power is within you, not outside of you. So keep finding the peace that's here in this moment. And allow this peace to guide you, to nudge you on ways forward. And just notice that the spirit voice is a simple voice. No stories, instructions. It may not be easy to implement, but it's simply giving you the instructions to do this, to do that. Simple instructions may not be easy to implement. It may be really challenging if it's a new skill. Like a spirit tells you to do yoga to get your balance back. The mind's going to offer a lot of protests, a lot of excuses, a lot of stories that you cannot do that. We have to push through those stories to the truth of our being. So we just simply want to come back into this moment, back to the human experience, by opening your eyes, realizing that you're alive and that all things are possible. If things are not possible, then what's the story? It's really that simple. If the mind's giving you the impossible story, then you just see what's the story and why am I taking that as my truth? And that's all we need to focus on today. Just keep coming back to this moment and to realize the truth within us is simple. So the talks are simple. If you're finding complexity in the talks, in the stories, then it's operating from the level of the mind. When you really get into the deeper levels of you, spirit, you get into this flow state of just knowing where time doesn't really seem to exist. You're just in this flow, your flow, not the flow of someone else, not trying to mimic someone else, but staying in your own flow. That's your way to truth, happiness, peace, joy, contentment. Misery is found in the mind. Despair, depression, anxiety, worry, stress. 1,001 different flavors of head trash. Ignore that to the best you can. It's a practice to ignore. Just keep diving into who you are, into your truth, into your way of being. And that's all we need to do. welcome, Dowie. Anyone else jumping in? Any questions from anyone today? For everyone that's watching here, you can, if you're watching this on replay, you can always ask questions later. I can do videos on that as well. I really enjoy when you ask questions afterwards or topics, so I can create more videos. Because every day I'm trying to come up with a new idea, a new topic, and sometimes they are repeated because we have to keep repeating something to remember that we are that which can't be defined: spirit, soul, consciousness, all that is. That is the real you. So any questions, anything I can address for you? And to realize that you have immense power within you, because the real you is soul, spirit, consciousness that can do all things. So everyone that knows their true self, all your spiritual gifts come online. So you have the ability to give intuitive readings, give healings, any kind of spiritual work is available to any of us if we get rid of the mental stories, the mental blocks, and be spirit, be consciousness. And that's the place that can do all things, from healing to manifestation, intuitive readings, mediumship, psychometry, whatever you wish to call it. Your gifts are there awaiting your arrival, waiting for your arrival home to your true self. It is that simple. I'm not seeing any questions or comments. And I will be back here next Sunday at noon if something arises for you. Because this is your journey, your human experience. How do you navigate through this journey? That's the most important thing. How are you navigating this journey? Like up in the head or in the heart? Make that choice to be in your heart, and life flows with an ease, a grace. The struggle comes from the mind of resistance, of protest, of blame, of victimhood. We just want to keep being here, and I'm wishing you much peace for today as you enjoy being alive with all possibilities. Keep living your truth, your way. And things will work out in ways you cannot explain. That's the miracles. When you follow your